There's a circuit in your brain right now demanding that someone care about your pain. Evolution put it there 200,000 years ago when being isolated from your tribe meant death. That circuit is firing every time you share your struggles, every time you post about your bad day, every time you look for validation that your suffering matters. Here is what your brain does not know. You do not live in a tribe of 30 people anymore. You live in a world of 8 billion strangers who are too busy managing their own biological machinery to care about yours. And the sooner you accept this truth, the sooner you can stop hemorrhaging energy into a black hole of emotional labor that returns nothing. Let me be very clear about what I am saying and what I am not saying. I am not telling you that your pain is not real. Pain is the most real thing you will ever experience. It is a biological signal designed to make you change something. What I am telling you is that your expectation that other people should carry that pain with you is a software glitch, a bug in your social programming that worked perfectly in the Pleistocene and fails catastrophically in the modern world. Every second you spend waiting for someone to validate your suffering is a second you are not spending actually solving the problem that is causing it. Your ancestors cried out when they were hurt because the tribe needed to know. If you broke your leg hunting, the tribe carried you back. If you lost a child, the tribe mourned with you. This was not kindness. This was survival economics. A tribe that did not care for its members died out. Your brain still runs that same software. When you experience emotional pain, it triggers the same neural pathways as physical injury. Your anterior cingulate cortex lights up. Your brain is literally treating social rejection like a broken bone. It is screaming for help because in the ancestral environment, isolation meant death. But you are not in the ancestral environment anymore. You are in a world where everyone is broadcasting their pain simultaneously. You are competing for attention and empathy in a marketplace that is completely saturated. Every person you know is dealing with their own biological machinery malfunctioning in real time. They are fighting their own demons. They have their own pain signals firing, and you're asking them to care about yours while they can barely manage their own. This is not cruelty. This is mathematics. There is not enough empathy to go around. The supply does not meet the demand. And the faster you understand this, the faster you can stop outsourcing your emotional regulation to people who were never equipped to provide it. Stanford neuroscientist Robert Sapolsky spent decades studying stress in primates. What he found was that social species have a stress response that is directly tied to their position in the hierarchy and their social bonds. A baboon that gets kicked out of the troop experiences chronic elevation of cortisol, the stress hormone that destroys your body over time. The same thing happens in humans. When you feel socially rejected, when nobody responds to your pain the way you need them to, your body interprets this as a survival threat. Your cortisol levels spike, your immune system weakens, your sleep gets worse. You are literally poisoning yourself waiting for validation that is never coming. The mechanism is elegant in its cruelty. Your brain evolved to make you seek social support because that support increased survival odds, but it also evolved to punish you when that support is not available. This created a biological imperative: stay connected or die. The problem is that your brain cannot tell the difference between actual abandonment and the normal social friction of modern life. Someone not texting you back triggers the same alarm system as being left alone in the wilderness. Your biological machinery is running software designed for a world that no longer exists. And every time you cry out for someone to care, you are reinforcing a neural pathway that makes you weaker. Here is the part that nobody wants to hear. Most of the suffering you are experiencing is not caused by the original problem. It is caused by your reaction to other people not caring about the problem the way you think they should. You are not suffering because something bad happened. You are suffering because you expected someone to suffer with you, and they did not. This is a double trauma. The original wound and then the secondary wound of perceived abandonment. And that secondary wound, that feeling of nobody caring, is often worse than the first one. It cuts deeper because it feels like evidence that you do not matter, that you are alone in a way that is existentially terrifying. But let me reframe that for you. The people in your life not being able to carry your emotional weight is not evidence that you do not matter. It is evidence that they are human. Humans have a limited capacity for empathy. This is not a moral failing. It is a biological constraint. Mirror neurons, the cells that allow you to feel what others feel, have a finite bandwidth. Compassion fatigue is real. It is a documented phenomenon where continuous exposure to others' suffering degrades your ability to respond with empathy. Healthcare workers get it. Therapists get it. And the people close to you, the ones you keep going to with your pain, they get it too. Not because they are bad people, but because their hardware cannot handle the load you are putting on it. The Greeks understood this 2,000 years ago. The Stoics, Marcus Aurelius and Seneca, and Epictetus, they built an entire philosophy around the idea that you cannot control what happens to you, and you cannot control how other people respond to what happens to you. The only thing you can control is your own judgment about it. Epictetus, who was born a slave and spent his early life in chains, said something that should be tattooed on the inside of your eyelids. Some things are up to us and some things are not up to us. Whether someone cares about your pain is not up to you. Whether you let that lack of care destroy you is. Let me pause here for a second and ask you a question that maybe no one has ever asked you. What is the worst part of living with this internal struggle? Not what you tell people, but the part you carry in silence. I want you to know something. What you are feeling is more common than you imagine. Thousands of people are watching this video right now carrying exactly the same weight. If you have the courage, leave a comment telling me what is the hardest part for you. Your honesty might make someone else feel less alone today. Now let me continue showing you how to break this pattern. The solution is not to stop feeling pain. Pain is information. The solution is to stop requiring other people to validate that pain before you are allowed to do something about it. This requires a fundamental rewiring of your social circuitry. You need to train your brain to understand that being alone with your pain is not a death sentence. It is the default condition of being human. Every single person who has ever lived has experienced suffering that nobody else fully understood or cared about. This is not a bug. This is the feature. Individuality means individual experience. Your consciousness is locked inside your skull. Nobody can access it directly. Nobody can feel exactly what you feel. And the expectation that they should is the source of more suffering than the original pain ever was. Here is the protocol. First, you need to separate real pain from manufactured drama. Your brain does not distinguish between the two very well. It treats all distress as equally urgent. But there is a massive difference between I am injured and need help versus I am upset and want attention. One is a legitimate survival need. The other is an addiction to external validation. Start tracking what triggers your need to broadcast suffering. Write it down. When you feel the urge to tell someone how bad things are, pause and ask yourself what you actually need. Do you need practical help? Or do you need someone to confirm that you have a right to feel bad? If it is the second one, you are looking for permission to avoid responsibility. You are outsourcing your self-worth to someone else's reaction. Second, you need to build what the ancients called the inner citadel. Marcus Aurelius used this phrase to describe the fortress of your mind that external events cannot touch. This is not about pretending you do not feel things. It is about recognizing that your feelings are generated by your interpretations, not by the events themselves. Someone not caring about your problem is only painful because you have decided it means something about your value. But it does not. It means they have their own problems. It means they have limited emotional resources. It means they are human. When you stop interpreting their indifference as a judgment, it stops hurting. Third, you need to practice sitting with your own pain without numbing it or broadcasting it. This is the hardest part. Your brain will scream for relief. It will tell you that if you just explain one more time, if you just find the right person, someone will finally understand and make it better. This is a lie. Your limbic system tells you to keep you seeking social bonds. The relief you are looking for does not exist out there. It only exists in your capacity to process the pain yourself. This means feeling it fully without trying to escape it and without trying to make it someone else's responsibility. Sit with it. Breathe through it. Let it pass through your system the way your body was designed to handle it. Fourth, you need to reframe self-reliance as a gift to others, not a burden on yourself. When you stop requiring hiring other people to manage your emotional state. You free them to have a relationship with you that is not defined by your needs. This is not cold. This is compassionate. You are recognizing that they have their own struggles and you are choosing not to add to them. The Stoics called this sympathia, a recognition of the shared human condition. Everyone is fighting a battle you know nothing about. When you carry your own weight, you make space for genuine connection instead of transactional neediness. Fifth, you need to build actual resilience through controlled exposure to discomfort. Your capacity to handle pain grows the same way your muscles do, through progressive overload. If you never experience pain without someone immediately soothing it, you never develop the ability to regulate your own nervous system. This is why coddling produces fragility. Every time someone validates your suffering, they prevent you from learning to validate yourself. Start small. Experience minor disappointments without seeking comfort. Feel lonely without immediately reaching out. Be uncomfortable without making it someone else's problem. This is not suffering for its own sake. This is training. The neuroscience here is clear. Your brain exhibits something called experience-dependent plasticity. The circuits you use get stronger. The circuits you do not use atrophy. Every time you seek external validation, you strengthen the neural pathway that says you need external validation to feel okay. Every time you self-soothe, every time you process pain independently, you strengthen the pathway that says you are capable of handling your own emotional state. This is not theory. This is measurable changes in brain structure. You are literally building a different brain based on how you respond to suffering. Seneca wrote about this in his letters. He said that we suffer more in imagination than in reality. Most of your pain is not the thing that happened. It is your story about the thing that happened. And most of that story is about what other people think, what they should have done, how they failed you. This narrative is a prison. It keeps you stuck in a loop of resentment and victimhood because you are waiting for someone else to change the story for you. But you are the only person who can change it. You do that by accepting that nobody is coming to save you. Nobody is required to care, and their lack of care does not diminish you unless you let it. There is a concept in evolutionary biology called costly signaling. Animals engage in displays that are metabolically expensive to prove their fitness. A peacock's tail does not help it survive. It makes it easier for predators to catch, but it signals to potential mates that the peacock has such good genes it can afford this handicap. Humans do this too, but somewhere along the way, we started costly signaling weakness instead of strength. We broadcast our suffering as proof that we deserve care. We compete in a marketplace of victimhood, where the person with the most pain gets the most attention. This is a catastrophic misuse of your energy. You are advertising your genetic unfitness. You are telling the world that you cannot handle your own life. The alternative is to signal strength through silence. This does not mean hiding your struggles. It means handling them without requiring an audience. When you stop crying about every setback, when you process your pain privately, and emerge with solutions instead of complaints, you become someone people actually want to be around. This is not because people are shallow. It is because strength is contagious and weakness is exhausting. Your emotional state affects everyone around you. When you are constantly in crisis, you are constantly draining energy from your environment. When you are stable, you become a source of stability for others. There is a brutal truth here that modern psychology does not like to acknowledge. Excessive empathy can be destructive. When you constantly validate someone's victimhood, you trap them in it. You give them a social reward for staying broken. This is why enabling behavior exists. The enabler thinks they are being kind, but they are actually preventing the other person from developing the capacity to fix their own problems. Real compassion sometimes looks like indifference. Sometimes the kindest thing someone can do is not care about your pain, because that forces you to care about it enough to do something about it yourself. This is where the modern therapeutic model often fails. It is built on the assumption that everyone needs to be heard, that all feelings are valid, that you should express your emotions fully and expect others to hold space for them. This works if you have one person and a paid professional with training and boundaries. It does not work in the messy reality of human relationships where everyone is simultaneously the client and the therapist. When you apply therapeutic expectations to regular social interactions, you create a situation where nobody can ever meet the standard you are setting, and then you feel betrayed when they inevitably fail. The ancient model was different. Stoicism, Buddhism, Taoism, they all emphasized self-sufficiency and acceptance of suffering as inevitable. They did not pathologize pain. They recognized it as part of the human experience, and they focused on building internal resources to handle it rather than external support systems to avoid it. This is not because they were cold or lacking empathy. It is because they understood something we have forgotten. Outsourcing your emotional regulation makes you dependent. Building internal capacity makes you free. Here is what this looks like in practice. Something bad happens. Your first instinct is to tell someone, to get sympathy, to hear that it is not your fault. Instead, you stop. You sit with the feeling. You ask yourself what you need to do about this situation, not what you need someone else to do. What you need to do. You make a plan, you execute it, you handle it, and then, if you want, you can share the story. But you share it as someone who solved a problem, not as someone who is drowning and needs rescue. This shift changes everything. You stop being a victim and start being an agent. You stop waiting for permission to be okay, and you give yourself that permission. The neurochemistry shifts too. When you take action on your own behalf, your brain releases dopamine. This is the reward signal. It is telling you that you moved closer to a goal. When you wait for someone else to make you feel better, you get intermittent reinforcement at best. Sometimes they care, sometimes they don't. This creates the same addictive pattern as gambling. You keep seeking that hit of validation because occasionally you get it. But the hit gets weaker over time, and you need more and more of it to feel okay. This is why people who constantly seek sympathy become more fragile, not less. They are training their brain to require external input for basic emotional stability. There is also the issue of social capital. Every relationship has a balance sheet of emotional transactions. When you constantly withdraw by asking for support, you need to deposit by providing value. If you only ever take, eventually people stop wanting to invest in you. This is not cruelty. This is economics. Relationships require reciprocity. And if you are always in crisis, you have nothing left to give. You become a black hole. This is why people pull away from those who need too much, not because they lack compassion, but because maintaining that relationship becomes exhausting and one-sided. The paradox is that the more you need people, the more you drive them away. So what does strength look like? It looks like waking up every day, knowing that you are the only person responsible for your emotional state. It looks like experiencing pain without making it anyone else's emergency. It looks like solving your problems quietly and then moving on. It looks like not needing credit or recognition or sympathy for being a functional adult. It looks like understanding that life is hard for everyone and nobody owes you special treatment because you find it hard too. This is not cold. This is realistic. This is the only sustainable way to live. The alternative is what you are doing now, broadcasting your suffering and feeling betrayed when the world does not stop to acknowledge it, waiting for someone to care enough to fix you, building your identity around your wounds. This is a dead end. It leads to chronic victimhood, resentment, and isolation because the more you demand that others care, the more they resent the demand. And the more they pull away, the more proof you have that nobody cares. You create a self-fulfilling prophecy where your behavior guarantees the outcome you fear most. Let me tell you what happens when you break this cycle. You become someone who can be trusted with hard things. You become someone people turn to instead of someone people have to manage. You build real relationships based on mutual respect instead of transactional neediness. You develop genuine self-esteem that comes from knowing you can handle whatever life throws at you without falling apart. This is not about becoming emotionless. It is about becoming emotionally self-sufficient. You still feel everything. You just do not require an audience for it. The final piece is acceptance. Acceptance that nobody will ever fully understand your experience. Acceptance that you are alone in your own consciousness. Acceptance that suffering is not special or unique, or a reason to be exempt from responsibility. Acceptance that the cavalry is not coming. This sounds bleak, but it is actually liberating. Once you stop waiting for rescue, you can start rescuing yourself. Once you stop needing validation, you can start validating yourself. Once you accept that nobody cares, you can start caring enough for both of you. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This is not a platitude. This is a precise description of how your consciousness works. You cannot control what happens. You cannot control how people respond. You can only control your interpretation and your action. When you fully internalize this, victimhood becomes impossible, because victimhood requires that someone else is responsible for your well-being. But if you accept that you are the only person responsible, there is nobody to blame. There is only you and the problem, and problems can be solved. This is the biological truth. Underneath all the self-help garbage, you are an organism designed to handle stress. Your ancestors survived ice ages and predators and starvation and war. They did not survive because someone validated their feelings. They survived because they kept moving forward, even when it hurt. That same machinery is still running in you. The problem is that you have been trained to shut it off every time you experience discomfort. You have been trained to seek comfort instead of building capacity, and that training has made you weak. The good news is that weakness is reversible. You can train yourself back into strength the same way you trained yourself into weakness. It starts with a decision. The decision that you are done outsourcing your emotional state, done waiting for someone to care, done making your pain everyone else's problem. This decision is uncomfortable because it means accepting that you have been approaching this wrong, that you have been avoiding responsibility by claiming you need help when what you really need is to help yourself. Here is what I need you to understand. Nobody is coming. Nobody cares. And that is not a tragedy. That is freedom. Freedom from the need to perform suffering. Freedom from the exhausting work of managing other people's perceptions. Freedom from the prison of victimhood. When you accept that you are alone with your pain, you stop wasting energy trying to make it visible to others, and you start using that energy to actually solve it. This is the difference between surviving and thriving. Survivors wait for rescue. Those who thrive rescue themselves. If you made it this far, I already know something important about you. You do not just want to survive your own mind, you want to master it. This channel is not about magic promises. It is about real people sharing real tools that work in the real world. If this makes sense to you, subscribe to the channel, not because I am asking, but because you deserve a place where you can learn to build the version of yourself you always knew was in there. Biology is destiny until you hack it. One final thing. This content is educational and philosophical in nature. It is not a replacement for professional mental health support if you need it. If you are in genuine crisis, seek professional help. What I am offering here is a framework for building resilience and self-reliance for those who are ready to stop waiting for the world to fix them. This is about becoming the person who handles hard things, not about pretending hard things do not exist. There is a difference.